Hi, my name's Tom Meitzel and welcome to our video on short sales for sellers. I'm multi-state licensed in real estate. I've successfully closed over 9 figures in real estate transactions. I am licensed in Nevada, the short sale and foreclosure capital of the world. So we're going to explain to you a little bit about what a short sale means for you as a seller. A short sale for you as a seller means that your house is upside down. You don't have enough money to pay off your first mortgage, second mortgage, or any subsequent mortgages, and you're going to be asking the bank to take less than they're owed. It is possible to get this done, although it takes some time. It takes a realtor and who really knows their way around the process, so you want to make sure you get somebody who's an expert in it. You may also need legal advice. In fact, we recommend legal advice to make sure that this is done properly. So a short sale is asking the bank to take less than they're owed, which you're never going to be happy about, and it is going to damage your credit. In most cases, not all, but in most cases, the banks actually require you to be late before they'll actually consider your home for a short sale. So by the time you're 90 days late, your credit's already started to take a beating. So keep that in mind, that a short sale is the last resort if you can't negotiate something else, because at that point your credit is going to take a hit. Although a short sale is going to be a lot better on your credit than would a foreclosure or a bankruptcy. Now, there's a couple different types of short sales. Some people have the money to pay the mortgage. However, let's say they paid $400,000 for the home and it's worth $200,000. They'd rather not pay it off. That's called a strategic default, meaning they're defaulting on purpose to save themselves some money. The banks are pretty wise to that, and generally it's not going to be acceptable to the bank because the bank is going to require you to provide everything from tax returns, wage statements. They'll do an appraisal on the property. It is very involved, and they typically catch those and kick those out. Mostly a short sale is for somebody who doesn't have the ability to pay due to a job loss, sickness, something of that nature where you simply can't afford to make your payments. Then in that case, the bank is willing to typically work with you. Local banks, if you have a first mortgage with a local bank, it's typically a lot easier to get it approved than with a national lender. Fewer rules, more direct contact. The process when you get an offer on your home, first off, you've got to list it and you've got to typically disclose that it's going to be a short sale depending on your state. You'll get an offer on the home. Once you accept the offer, then paperwork's going to go to the bank for processing. Once the bank gets it, they'll do what they call a broker price opinion or an appraisal to see if the offer is fairly close to what the actual market value on the property is. That means if the home is really worth $200,000 and you accept an offer at $100,000, maybe to one of your friends, hoping that they can get the property cheap, it typically is not going to fly. It doesn't typically get past their underwriters. Now, the problems with short sales start when you've got multiple mortgages. If there's one mortgage, it typically goes fairly quickly. I've seen them done in 30 days. With multiple mortgages, I've seen them take upwards of a year and a half to do. The reason is because when you're asking somebody to take less than you're owed, if you only have one mortgage, let's say you owe $200,000 and the property's worth $150,000, you only have one mortgage, that means you're only negotiating with one person to take a $50,000 loss. But let's say the home's worth $150,000, you have a $200,000 first, a $25,000 second, and a $25,000 third. Well, the second and third mortgagee generally in a foreclosure will get absolutely zero. However, to get them to agree on a short sale, the person in the first mortgage position is typically going to have to agree to take a little bit less than they normally could in a foreclosure to actually give the second and third mortgage people some money in order to encourage them to actually participate in the process. What happens is you'll get one approved or two approved, then the third one won't approve, or the approval will lapse in the time it takes for the other people to approve it. So it's like juggling cats. Nobody really likes it, including the cat. The other thing you're going to have possibly in a short sale is something called a deficiency judgment. Now keep in mind, this varies from state to state. Some states do not allow them in first mortgages. Some allow them in all mortgages. Some have a very tight time frame where the bank would have to file a suit against you in a very short period of time. Other states have very long terms, and so the banks can come back after you long term. So when you do a short sale, typically you want to have a lawyer involved, and you want to make sure that there is no deficiency judgment. A deficiency judgment, it's going to be written in there if they reserve the right to come after you for a deficiency judgment, or they're going to waive deficiency judgment. You want them to waive it, which means they can't come back and come after you later for a deficiency judgment asking that you pay the balance. For instance, if you had one mortgage, you owed $200,000 and you got $150,000, they might try to come back after you for a $50,000 deficiency judgment. Now, if they're going to insist on a deficiency judgment because your financials are still pretty strong, or for whatever reason, you want to try to get a negotiated settlement. You do not want to allow them to sue you. You want to get it in writing what the maximum liability will use. Now remember, the first goal is to get a waiver of your deficiency judgment. If you can't get a waiver of your deficiency judgment, then you're looking at a negotiated settlement. If you can't negotiate it and the bank wants to come back after you down the road, there would be a lawsuit involved where they would sue you for the balance on the loan, including penalties, back interest. So the amount you owe would be significant. So you really need to get some good advice depending on the state that you're in, because every state does vary, every state has different rules, and every bank has a different process. So remember, if you're going to do a short sale, it is going to damage your credit. You want to go ahead and try to avoid a deficiency judgment, and if you do have a deficiency judgment, you want to try to get it negotiated. If you have any more questions, we can be reached at homewithtom.com. That's homewithtom.com. You can email us or phone us through that number right there. Have a great day, and until next time.